Is it
That's the
possible that you
first
can
for
live
the first.
into, yeah, in two properties? Meaning, say you can have two addresses, like you have two properties, and you own and live in both. It's possible, isn't it?
Well, yeah, yeah. You can have two properties. You have one property, and have a vacation home in next. So, and those are still considered, considered your homes,
I see.
and they're an investment property. But
Mm-hmm.
there's, I think, a limitation rule, the distance. I think it has to be over 100 miles away, apart from each other.
Oh, I see. Now, what is your take on a co-op and a condo?
I'm sorry. What's the first
A
word?
cooperative. You know this in New York, for example, and other eastern states. There are a lot of cooperatives, and because they're older homes or older buildings, some people prefer the co-ops. Although I have interviewed people, and they were saying that there are more restrictions to a cooperative. I wonder if that is something common in California, though.
I don't think it is. I mean, a cooperative. Is that what?
A cooperative.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not familiar with the term. I don't think it is in California more than in New York.
Uh huh.
But cooperative is more of, I would imagine, without researching it further, that it is more of the concept of condo, because condo is a cooperative association.
Mm-hmm.
It's mutually owned by all the members of the association.
However, in the condo, you own that particular unit, and if well, in the cooperative, I was thinking like you own stocks, and they say that they are more rigid in terms of accepting someone to buy a particular unit as a cooperative. Like they subject you to a personal interview, and there are more restrictions in terms of like when or how soon you can rent out your unit compared to a condo, which is also restrictive, and of course not the same as a single family home. But I really I'm certain that in California it's not a very common concept.
It's not, yeah, we don't use stocks to buy property here. We own the rights of the condo, the air rights of the condo on that property, and every all the association mutually own the land.
Mm-hmm. So, Rod, what happens when you buy a condo? Does that mean to say that if something happens to the building, there's fire, and then are they gonna rebuild the whole building, and then you gonna have your same unit, or are you paid for the damages, etc.?
Well, in a condominium, that's very important. That is a very good question again, because a lot of people think that they don't need to protect the inside of their property. So the HOA, the association, covers the dwelling from the outside. However, the homeowner or the owner's responsibility is to cover the inside of that building. So
Mm-hmm.
if you don't have an insurance and a fire destroys the property, the HOA is responsible for putting up the structure of the dwelling, but they won't do anything in the inside of the house. So that means they're not going to do the cabinets, they're not going to do the flooring, they're not going to do the paint. It's just going to be a rough, um, it's just going to be a rough wall from the inside.
Mm-hmm. But when
So
you have a
it's
condo,
important to protect
yes.
your investment. If you have a condo, it's important to have your own insurance to cover the inside premises on your property.
Uh-huh. But if you own a condo, do you also own a part of the land where the building is?
For yeah, if there are 500 homeowners, you're 1/500 owner of that land. Yes.
Mm-hmm. And that complex will have to be rebuilt, or does have to be part of the purchase agreement that it has to be included there, that if something happens, they're going to rebuild it.
Oh yes, yeah. Well, it's automatic. The HOA has to get an insurance to cover the structures of the building.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Mm-hmm.
pretty much automatic. So there is an insurance, and that's a significant amount of expense that the HOA do yearly is to pay for that insurance that would cover liability, and also cover the property damage.
Mm-hmm. That's right. So, however, in terms of insurance, there's another question here. This is a gentleman who seems to be working as a travel representative, and he seems to have bought a house, but is not actually living there because he's almost living, outside of his property because of his work. Does he insure his home? Is there a special insurance for people like that, the type of work that they do?
No, well, there's no special insurance. There's typical insurance, whether they live there mostly or not. But I know that if it's a vacant property, a lot of insurance companies do not insure
Uh huh.
vacant properties.
I see.